Today, I want to talk about laziness. But before we do that, let's take a look at what laziness actually means. So, according to Cambridge Dictionary, laziness is the quality of not being willing to work or use any effort. Willing being the main word here. Now, laziness is a capitalistic construct that exists to guilt us into productivity, always hustling, never resting, go, go, go. You got a hobby, great, let's turn it into a business. But I mean, think about it. To be able to function as a human, to be happy as a human, to want to function as a human, you need rest, because otherwise your brain literally doesn't have any energy to survive. If you look at a cat's life, they spend around 75% of their time sleeping because their body is gathering that energy that they need to be able to be successful predators. So why don't we humans deserve rest as well? What do you have to say about that, darling? He agrees. Now, when we bring neurodivergence into it, laziness is a label that is often put on us. While neurotypical brains are able to block out sensory input, an autistic brain can't. If you add ADHD to the mix, you literally have a hyperactive brain that cannot stop. And that takes enormous amount of energy to always have your brain be thinking 100 thoughts per second and 50 songs at once. Think about it. If you've got 100 tabs open on your computer, it may start to lag. It's the same thing for us humans. Throughout my childhood, my dad would often call my mum lazy. And because I didn't know any better, I, like many other people, kind of internalized that and promised myself I would never be lazy. So I pushed myself to the limit every day, all day, 365 days per year, and was still perplexed when people would call me lazy. My defense mechanism was to just say, oh, yeah, I'm lazy, and make a joke about it to laugh it off. Now I can recognize my mother's behaviors in myself. And the fact of the matter is, my mum is quite clearly an undiagnosed ADHD woman. In social situations, people can misconstrue uncertainty for laziness. And when you're not doing anything, you're just sitting there being quiet, it's easy for people to project their feelings onto that quiet person. And one of those things that people like to project onto the person is laziness. Another example that comes to mind is a personal one. So I was hooking up with an ex, and he just kind of stopped all of a sudden, and he just kind of looked at me and waited. And I didn't understand why he had stopped and why he was looking at me. Honestly, I don't even think I understood that he was waiting. I was just very perplexed by the situation. So I went into that defense mechanism of, I'm feeling uncertain, so it's easier just not to do anything. So I just kind of sat there and waited along with him. And he said, God, you're so lazy. And I said, I am lazy, because it's easier just to kind of go along with it than cause any kind of friction. Another thing that people mistake for laziness is somebody just having a lack of spoons. And if you're not familiar with this spoons term, it describes how much energy a person has. So an autistic person will wake up with X amount of spoons, and every task they do, however minor, it takes a spoon. Some tasks take more spoons than others. So, for example, taking a shower, that's a classic situation which can take can require more spoons because there is so much sensory input coming at you from, the temperature changes, the feeling of your wet feet hitting the bathroom floor. And once all your spoons are gone, then the autistic person is completely depleted and they need time to recuperate so that they can gather spoons again for the next day. A common ADHD trait is task paralysis, which is a type of overwhelm by the amount of things you need to get done. So your nervous system kind of panics and you become frozen. You can't do anything. Now you were stressed because you had things to do. Now you're stressed because where has the time gone? And now you're even more stressed because you're late with doing that thing that needed to be done. And task paralysis can be misconstrued as laziness because people don't see what is going on inside an ADHD brain. They just see, oh, that person never gets things done, or that person is always late with this and that. What's wrong with that person? God, they're so lazy. For me, recuperation is the biggest thing, especially since I got burnt out, but I have always needed more recuperation than other people, which was the biggest hint that I am autistic. My mum would often say that I almost looked hungover after hanging out with friends, not to mention when sleepovers started happening, I'd just be completely destroyed the day after, and I would need the rest of the weekend to recuperate, and oftentimes that wasn't enough. But capitalism teaches us that rest is the devil. Why are you resting? Why aren't you being productive when you could be out there making money? Wouldn't you want to have money? And it's easy to get caught up in that. I know I did. And that's a major reason why I became burnt out at 30. If we picture ourselves a battery, right? Throughout the day, the battery is going to slowly but surely deplete. And when that battery hits zero, the thing that it's operating shuts down and the battery needs to be plugged in order for it to fill up again with electricity so that it can continue to operate once it's filled up. Human beings are the same. And neurodivergent people need more time to recuperate. And that is okay. That is a vital part of our existence. So let's normalize this. Let's remember to tell ourselves every day that you matter. Repeat after me. I matter. Nobody else's opinion about my needs matter. I choose me. That was all for today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.